What's up guys, I'm going to show you how you can make this Super Saiyan transformation in Roblox Studio. So here we are in the studio. On the right side here you can see all the things that we will need. I will quickly go through each one that we need. So first off, in the workspace you want to have a folder called Player FX. This is where we'll put all the VFX and stuff that we need to show. So basically the transformation, like the aura and the hair, for example. Then in replicator storage we need a few things, quite a few things. So we need one folder for the assets. In here we will have animations and sounds. Then here is where you want to have the animation for the transformation. I just made a quick one to show. You have to make your own one. And then two sounds here, one for the activation and one for just the Super Saiyan ambient. You can probably just get these from the toolbox. I think that's where I got these from. Then you need a folder for the remotes. In here you'll have 3 remotes. Actually we don't need this one. You'll have the need for these 2 remotes. One's for replication and the other one is for firing to the server. I'll show you where you use these in just a second. Then you need a folder here for replication. In here we will have all the local stuff. So in this case it's just the Super Saiyan effects that we will need locally, and this is also where we will do the animations. This is a framework, so it's a bit more complex. It's a simple framework. I'll go through the replicator and the server-sided one, and it does use modules, so I'll get to that. And okay, as I was saying, in here this will be where we do all the effects. So you want to put all the effects inside of here. You have to make your own effects. You can just go in the toolbox and search up particle pack, and from there you can make your own effects. When you've done that, you can just put them in here. So you can do this for the most part, like any type of transformation. It doesn't have to be Super Saiyan. So that's the stuff that we need in replicator storage. Then for the server side, we need one script here called main, and inside of it we will have a folder for the transformations. In here we will have all the different types of transformations. That's how the module, well, the framework works. So I've only got Super Saiyan, but for future videos I will just add it in here. So it's quite important that you get framework down. It makes things so much easier. I'll get to why there's folders here in just a second when I go through the scripts. And you don't need this. This was just the animation that I made real quick. Final thing we need is in the starter player scripts. You need 2 local scripts, one for the player inputs and one for the replicator. So now I'll actually go through the scripts. I'll start with the local ones here. So the player input. This one's very simple. I'll go through it briefly and sort of explain some things. So here we have the 2 services that we need: user input service for the inputs and replicator storage just to fire through the remote, and the player, of course. So this is the user input service function. Input is the input, and GPE is just, it means game processed event. It's basically if you're typing, that's all it's really used for. I actually don't know what else it's really used for. It's mainly just there for typing. Next we just check if the input.key code is G. You can change this to whatever key you want. So if you want your transformation to be Q, E, L, whatever you want, you can just change it here. And this is where the framework comes in. So you would have something like this, and then you would put 1, and then you can have abilities here. So you'd fire through this, and instead of transformation you would have whatever ability you want it to be. If you don't use a framework and modules, it still works, but this is the most efficient and least cluttered way to do it. But yeah, I'm not going to get into that. I'll quickly explain what this means. So all this does is we fire through this remote to the server, and these are the parameters that we're sending through in the curly brackets. First thing we have is name. This is just the name of the folder that the stuff's going to be in. So in this case it's transformations. No, not here. Transformations. Because this is going to get received inside of this server script. We're going from this local to this server script, and the transformation is this folder here. So as I said before, if you want to have abilities, you would just add a new folder in here, call it something else like abilities, and in here you would put abilities. The type is what the actual ability would be. So in this case for the transformation it's Super Saiyan, and then the final thing is the function. This is the function inside of the module that we're gonna we're going to fire. So where does this go? So next thing you need is this server script here, and this one has quite a lot of stuff on this side. You don't need all of this actually. You only really need the you don't actually need this. Let me just take that out. There we go. Okay, just get the replicator storage. That's all we really need. And then the folder for the remotes. And this is the table where we're going to store all of the modules. I am not going to explain all of this. It's quite a bit. So basically all we'll do is, this is just going to be a table. In here we're going to put all of the modules that we have to use. So the first time that you fire this, press G for the transformation for Super Saiyan, it will put it in here. It will require this module Super Saiyan into here, so then next time you don't have to require it again, and you can just call it from here. It's just for efficiency. So yeah, basically just copy this part. This isn't the actual Super Saiyan transformation code, so just copy this. But yeah, now let me just get into the actual Super Saiyan thing. So this is the server side for Super Saiyan. It's quite simple. All we have in here is a cooldown, changing the movement speed and the jump height, because that's all the transformations is going to do server-sidedly. And that's basically it. And we also want to fire to the client. I'll get into this in just a second. And I will actually just quickly explain all of this. So let me take that out. That's not used here. So we just need this service, replicate storage. That's for when we're gonna fire through the different remotes. That's for when we're gonna fire through the replicator. This is the thing that we send through. So activate. This is the function. And in here, all we need is the character, humanoid, and this here is for the cooldown. Previous use up here. So this is how we handle the cooldown. When you press G, you will check if the current use, which this is just a long number basically. That's all this is. It's like a number since the game started or something. But yeah, all we'll do is we'll create a variable with this number, and we'll take it away from the previous one, because every time we press G, we will turn this previous one into the current one. And okay, let me explain this better. The first time you use this, you will get this current use, and because there's no cooldown because it's the first time you used it, it will set the current use to the previous use. Then the next time you use it, it will check if the current use, which you just got now, take away the previous use, is less than 15, which means 15 seconds hasn't passed, then it will stop, return. Otherwise, you can get to the rest of the stuff. And this is what this does. So it's just a cooldown, and this number here is how long you want the cooldown to be. Next thing, this is where we will fire to the client for the animations. That's why we're doing fire client. I'll explain fire all clients when we get there. So yeah, in here we just want to do player, then the parameters. And the only reason you put player here is because from the server you always have to put player first. So just put the player there. And then here are the parameters. Type is the same thing as the other one. Type, Super Saiyan, function, animations, because that's the function that we're gonna get in there. And in this one you don't need the name, because for the replicator we're just gonna loop through everything inside of here. We're not gonna go through this folder, and then just put the player again at the end. Then just the print, we don't need that, so I can just take that out. Then here we want to turn auto rotate off, so you can't like turn your camera when you're transforming. This isn't too important, but I added it. And actually one more thing we need to do, because I kind of forgot to do this, we need to make you unable to move when you are in the transformation. And then after 1 second, this is where you'd have all your buffs, so like whatever you're making. So it's just walk speed for me, there's nothing special, and jump height will make it higher. And then you can rotate your camera again. And after 14 seconds, because that's how long it will last, so you can change this to whatever number you want for how long you want it to last. I could have made some variables at the top, but it's a bit too late. And then we'll just set everything back to normal. Humanoid walk speed 16, that's the base walk speed, and 7.2 is the base jump height. But in jump power, I think if you're using jump power for your game, which it's up to you, I think it's like 50. I'm not too sure about that. I don't use jump power. But yeah, that's all for this one. And now I'll quickly get into the client side of things. For this, we need to go into the replicator. So this is another one where you want to just copy the code here, because this isn't part of the actual tutorial. It's just to quickly showcase things. So You do kind of want to have this though, because otherwise you would have to put like the animations and stuff just in this the input thing, and it gets really cluttered. So let me explain this. Services, same thing as usual. We don't actually need the players one, so let me take that out. Services, same as usual. Remotes folder, that's where we have our remotes, and the actual remote. So this is the remote, which is just the replicate remote right there. And we want a similar thing to the other one, except we don't put the player first, because that's just a given on client side of things. So you do the parameter and ... This is just if you want to have anything extra. We don't need to worry about that though. But the parameters, this is basically the same thing as the other one, except in this one we're going to loop through, we're going to get the descendants, so everything inside of replication, which is this folder here. We'll loop through replication until it finds Super Saiyan. This here, if v find first child parameters.type, and the parameters.type is here, Super Saiyan. So it'll loop through until it finds Super Saiyan. That's what it does. And then it does the same thing, it stores it inside of this table, so you don't have to require it again. Okay, but yeah, that's the replicator. And now for the final thing, the final script, it's just this, the local one. So in here, this first one is for the animations. This is the one that we did here, which was fire client, not fire all clients. So for this fire client one, in here is where we'll have the animations. So character, humanoid, you know, normal stuff. This is the animation. You would have to make your own animation, but yeah, so what you do for animations is humanoid load animation, then this is where you have the animation, and then this is where you actually play the animation. You don't have to put it after, you can do this whenever you want. So this would play, and you can also do stop if you want the animation to stop. But I'm just going to do it all in one line because I want it to play now, so there's no point having this in a separate line. I didn't really get into this, but we just need these services. We need the lighting, the TS, which is tween service, and you know, the replicator storage, like you do in all of them. Okay, after this, here we have a tween. So we're gonna make a tween for the lighting to add some blur, and then we also need another tween for the color correction. This is in here. So lighting, I added a color correction, and you can just change the brightness to -1 to make everything black. You see? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it -1, and that's like to have a, you know, the effect that you saw. You can make this better. You know, you can do more things, but like impact frames and stuff like that. But I'm not gonna be doing that for this. And how tween works is this is the thing that you want to tween. So it's lighting the color correction, and the tween info is just exactly how it sounds. It's the information for the tween. The first thing you want in here is a duration. I don't need to put any easing styles or anything because this is just a it's not an object. So I'm just gonna put the duration of it, so 0.3, and then you do a comma and curly brackets for the things you want to change. So in this case, it's the brightness right here, and we're gonna set that to -1. So after 0.3 seconds, it will be -1. Then we do a task delay 0.5 seconds. So we're gonna delay half a second, and then we're just gonna change the brightness back to normal. Take this line out, change the brightness back to normal. So then, you know, it stops all of that. And I don't think the blur even really works, because I mean, the screen goes black, so it's not really needed, but you know, I already added it. But yeah, that's all you need in the animation one. And then here we're just firing back to the server for this, because we need to do fire all clients for the effects. And let me explain why. So if you do the effects on the server side, it's really bad for performance, which is why we didn't do it in here. So the reason we use fire all clients is because if we did fire client and then all the code in here for actually creating the effects, if we did this with fire client and not fire all clients, it would only show for you. Fire all clients basically just fires it for every single person that's in the game, instead of just the person who, you know, made the input or whatever. And this is where we actually do the effects. So, oh yeah, wait, real quick. You want to just have these parameters. We don't need to put the player or anything, because fire all clients only takes whatever you want to give it. It doesn't need it doesn't need it doesn't send through player as like just a normal thing. So you just put the parameters, and we don't need anything extra here. The reason we put character here is in case you, no, I'm not explaining that properly. You just want to do the parameters like you do for this one, and we put character here because we're gonna need the actual character who, did the effects, or needs to have the effects done on them. If we don't put the character here, then everything we put in here, we won't be able to say for which character you want the actual effects to be on top of, or like on. So we need to send through the character. And this is the final script, final chunk of code. This is just a bunch of like copy pasting for all the different effects inside of the Super Saiyan transformation. So the hair, and then 2 other effect parts. So what we do in here is also where we play the sounds. So it's just sounds dot whatever the sound name is, play, similar to animations. And we do need the torso and the head real quick, because the head will be for where we put the hair, and the torso is where I'm going to put the effects. And game.debris, what this does is it creates whatever this first thing is, and then this is the duration for how long. So basically it just, this thing here, it will delete it after 15 seconds. So however long you want in here. And so in here you just put the number for when you want it to be deleted. So in this case it's effects number 1, we'll delete after 15 seconds because that's how long the transformation lasts. And then you want the same thing for effect 2 and for the hair. These are just clones of what's already inside of here. So effect 1, effect 2, and hair. We just want to clone these and put them in the player effects folder that we made at the start. This is just the stuff that we clone. That's done. And then we need the welds. This is because we need the, I don't think we need, oh no, we do need you, okay. This is because we need all of you to stick on the character. We need these parts to stick on the character for the effects. And I'm not just gonna take the particle emitter and put it inside of the character, because that gets really annoying. Because sometimes you might have to take the attachments, because all the effects are like different, you don't know whose effects you're going to be using, if you're working for a game or something like that. But it's just much easier to clone the actual part, which has all the effects already prepared, or how they should be. You could just turn the transparency to 1 here, see? Actually, not for you. This is because we're going to do a tween to make the hair like fade in and out. But yeah, these are just the welds. These 2 are simple, they're for the 2 effects parts. And this one here is more confusing. This is for the hair. Oh, and for these part 0s and part 1s, part 1 needs to be the actual effect, and part 0 needs to be the thing you want to weld it to. And you want to create the weld inside of the thing you need to weld it to. Okay? And this last thing, the C0, is a bit confusing to explain, but this thing that you see here, just put this in the C0. You want to have the object that you are welding to, the C-frame, inverse it. This basically, like, I don't know how to explain it exactly, returns the inverse of the C-frame. It doesn't really help with what it says here, but just put this, and then you times it by the head's C-frame, so whatever part you are welding it to. This code here, it basically just makes the actual C-frame of the hair, for example, a base, like of your head, of whatever this part is here. So it just puts it on the head, basically. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's important. It basically like positions it on the head, and then all we want to do is just do a times C-frame.new 0.5 for the Y, so we can put it further up on the head. This is where you can just change like the height of it. Then here we have one more tween for the transparency of the hair. So I already explained tweens. Yeah, for the hair 0.3 and the transparency of 0, so it fades in. Then here we want to loop through every effect inside effect 1 and effect 2, and if it's a particle emitter, if V is a particle emitter, then you enable it. You don't actually even need this if your effects are already enabled, but it's good to just put it there in case. And then you wait 13 seconds, and the reason we're not doing 15 seconds is because the debris here that we did, it lasts for 15 seconds. If we did 15, then we wouldn't be able to see the particles fade out. So we do 13 to give these time to fade out, because here we're doing the exact same thing. We're looping through every particle inside of the part, and we're just going to turn it off so it like fades out nicely. We do this for particle 1, part 1, and part 2, which have the effects in them. And the final thing, you just tween out the sound for the ambient of Super Saiyan, and then delay it at 0.3, and then stop it completely. Yeah, you delay 0.3 because, you know, that's how long the tween lasts. And then the final thing, right here, you make the hair, you tween the hair to make it transparent, and then boom, it all fades out nicely. So yeah, that's everything. I'm gonna be using this framework for other tutorials I do, so make sure you get this down. So yeah, hope that helps, and subscribe. I will be doing more.